passed some cars. Yes, he passed a few cars there in the last couple of laps, but
that tire was hot. I could tell you that much. I couldn't roll it back to his pit.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to leave it in the grass, so.
Yeah, it was the 88 of Kevin Roberts that got the win, and he edged out Dakota Goddard for second. And if you look at the margin of victory back here in the feature, 0.6.
And who was Dakota racing to try to get up to those boys?
Joey Cannon.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It was great. And guess who was fourth in the main event? Skylar Weinbarger.
From the back.
From the back. Yep, from the back. About halfway through is when he turned Roberts, right. And I get what he was trying to do. It's a young guy that's wanting to go, and he thought he was going to get a good start, and unfortunately it didn't work out like he saw it going in his mind. It's a great learning moment for this kid, but he drove all the way back through that field to finish fourth.
Well, and I'm not saying this happened one way or the other, but, some guys will, every time they see the green flag, when they're coming around on the pole, they'll hammer on it and just take off. And then that one time they'll think, well, I'm going to mess with these guys a little bit and kind of just lag.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been what happened there. I don't know. I didn't see it.
I don't know. The leader sets the pace. So
right.
It was one of those deals, but I'll guarantee you Skylar doesn't do it again. He'll remember that one, put it in the back of his memory, and
he'll do it again, but his timing's going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
You got to remember who he's watching.
I understand. I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
He's watching Superman, and Superman ain't no slouch on restarts.
No, he's one of the best on restarts.
He bumps a time or two on restarts.
Yeah,
he does. He does.
If you don't think Skylar's bumper ain't going to find somebody's rear end.
I just don't think it'll be in that fashion. Not that he did it on purpose. Like I said, he was just trying to get the advantage.
I don't think it was malicious at all.
Absolutely not. No.
But his timing will be a lot smoother.
Well, and that's why I say it's a great learning moment for him. Yeah. I mean, that right there in itself is you can take that as some sort of win. Mm-hmm. And then to come to the pack to get fourth. The other thing I want to talk about in this feature was, again, had Joey Cannon involved early in the race. I think it was like lap 2 or 3, Sam, when Tim Jenner lost a right front tire wide open on the backstretch, and it just turned that car towards the backstretch wall, and it collected Joey Cannon. And they hit kind of like I don't want to say a T because it wasn't straight, but it was pretty close. And Jenner hit the wall, and to me, from where I was at, the car stayed wide open. It looked like his throttle was stuck. Then he got the car to stop, and we've got some in-car action from we were riding with
Skylar.
It was Skylar, and Skylar got, the camera catches the wreck. You got to watch up on the screen towards your right, and you can see the wreck happen.
He was clear down at the bottom and went all the way to the wall.
Watching it from my vantage point, it really didn't look that bad, okay? You could tell that,
from my vantage point, I was standing at the opening.
They were coming at you. You saw the whole thing go down.
I jumped back.
But my opinion of this deal changed when I saw the in-car camera that was on Skylar's car that Sam captured. I'm telling you, watching that thing happen from inside a car at speed, that was a scary moment. That was a scary moment. It's posted up on Moxie, you guys.
I haven't posted it on Moxie.
You need to get that posted up.
I'll post it up.
But it's a great video to show, number one, how safe these cars are.
Right.
How hard these guys are racing and how fast these street stock cars are. I mean, it'll open your eyes. But watching that from Skylar Weinbarger's perspective, his vantage point was like, whoa, that was high speed and that was hard.
Right.
First and foremost, I'm glad Tim Jenner's okay. The car didn't seem too beat up from what I mean.
He's changed steering gears, whole right front suspension. He's working on the left front suspension, and he's got the door panel off, checking out the bars. Yeah. That was what I saw on his page.
Well, how I feel about race cars. They're just metal. Drivers aren't. You can't replace them. He's okay. The car was built good, and that's what matters the most. Sportsman. We only had 9 cars qualify, and I think we had a couple late arrivals because, we had at least one because 10 cars started the feature. Brian Brown was fast qualifier. Little Brian Brown, the Gumby car.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm Gumby. Oh, I can't say that last
by 3/10, he was fast qualifier. 17.189 to Ryan Emery's 17.494.
Wow.
Yeah. That's 3/10 is quite a bit of time.
Those guys all found some speed. They didn't want to get ran over by Ryan like they did last year, and their programs came along over the winter.
He has forced everybody to step up their game and do their homework.
Yeah.
So far, a couple of guys have answered that challenge. One of them being Jeff Rash.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Jeff Rash. We know, even this last couple of years, number one, Jeff Rash is a really, really good race car driver. Number two, that car he's in, out of the Hackney stables, carrying the retro Kenny Wheaton paint scheme, that is the best car that has ever come out of the Hackney stables. That car is not only finishing races, it's winning races. Saturday night, Jeff Rash was clearly the class of the field. As fast as Ryan Emery was, Jeff Rash had this thing wrapped up. I mean, it didn't matter where he put the car went forward. Smooth, and you put him on a slick surface. I'm talking like, and it was slick. You guys remember how slick it was Saturday night. Jeff Rash, well, I think he'd pay $1 million every week to have a track like that. He is so good on that slick surface. And he ran the middle groove, where a lot of guys, that everybody else was down on the bottom, trying to get into the rubber and the short way around. He stepped outside, got to that middle groove, made it work, and at one point had a really big lead before that caution came late in the race.
Right.
Ryan Emery tried everything he could to catch him. Just wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. Because Rash was gone. I don't know what has changed with that car. I don't know. And I'm not knocking the Hackney stables, but we know a lot of mechanical failures out of that team.
There's a lot of stuff going on over there. I think the guys are doing a lot more maintenance on their stuff.
I think this has been the problem in the past, those guys, is Glenn was doing everything. Mm-hmm. Now he's saying, hey, look. And I think Jeff Rash is one of the guys that's always done his own stuff, but now it seems to be that particular car is really, really put together well, and he's got it dialed in.
And I think Jeff is understanding him running that Super Sport. I think is really getting him more seat time, which is helping him understand cars more, which is what he needs to work on the most on the week. So
yep, absolutely. This class here, I want to talk about another driver that I've been watching the last couple of weeks is really starting to stand out to me. Been away from racing for a while. Got talked into coming back by Randy Boyd. Put together an old Rayburn. You know, we know how good the old Rayburns are in the sportsman class.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of these cars are Rayburns, you know, from
way
back that were late models back in the day. A guy that I've been watching the last couple of weeks has really, I think, has stepped up and done very well is that 2A car of Andy Brashear's.
Yes.
He has really, I mean, you got to remember the guy was away from racing for, I think the last time he drove a car was probably 7-8 years ago.
Right.
Well, with the exception of the night that he drove Kyle Yak's car a couple years back. But full-time racing, it's been close to a decade. He comes back, and he's got the feel for it. He's back, and that car from here on out, I'm going to say it's been going to be pretty good.
He's smiling in the pits a lot. So
well, who's working on his car, too? When it comes to Rayburn's at Willamette Speedway, who's the one guy you want to work on your car? Randy Boyd.
Yeah.
And they're out of the Randy Boyd stables, and Randy Boyd and Brashear's and the Irvines and the Byrams, those guys can tune a Rayburn just as good, if not better, than anybody else has ever ran Willamette Speedway. Those guys know those cars, and Andy, you can tell, is definitely having some fun.
Oh yeah, he's smiling, and he comes over to the campfire after the races, and he's just talking up a storm, having a good time.
I'm wondering if we're having some sound issues because Frisbee is saying he can't hear us. Brashear's was fourth, and he led a lot of this race. He had a good run, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I think you're going to see a lot more of that out of the 2A car. I'm excited to watch that, but man, this class, sportsman class, is tight. Super Sports. Ready for this?
When we get to the Super Sports, I can't remember his name. And I don't know whether he said he ran the number 2 Super Sport or he was pitting for him that night. But he's got $2 million kids out of the Shriners Hospital.
Really?
One of them's 27 years old and in the service.
There wasn't a number 2 car in the Super Sports.
Okay, so I think he said his car was number 2. He wasn't racing that night.
Oh, okay.
He was helping somebody. He was pitting for somebody.
A number 2 Super Sport. Oh, no.
I think that's what he said. But anyway, another good Shriner story out of the pits.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
love to hear that stuff. Super Sports, we can make this easy. We're going to talk about them, but we can make this easy. Sweep.
Yeah, and who?
Doug Elkins.
And who do I have for the?
Who'd I pick to win the title?
Yeah, we tied for that one because I got to pick and you got to pick, and we picked the same guy. And he had a broken wing.
And a borrowed motor. He borrowed a motor from BJ Donofrio.
That's right.
Swept the night, fast qualifier. Okay, won his heat race, the first heat race of the night. He won it. Third race of the night was a trophy dash. He won that by almost 2 seconds. And was 6.15 seconds ahead of Jody Tanner at the stripe for the feature.
Wow.
Doug Elkins made a statement Saturday night. That 46 car, it's funny what's going on there because the 46 and the 99, those guys are their best friends. They're teammates. We've seen those guys get together more than once this year racing and ruin each other's night.
Right.
Okay. BJ had some issues with his car. Knew he wasn't going to be there. Put his motor. He says, Doug, take my motor. Doug, or they worked it out to where he got that motor in Doug's car.
Right.
So Doug borrows a motor, comes out and says, yeah, that motor's good. It feels pretty darn good. And then just, man, he stepped out. He went from, it was flag to flag victory. Gone. That 46 car was on point. He is racing for the title. He has made that very clear. I'm racing for the championship. Right now, your points leader is Randy Barley.
And this was the first time that I actually, and I was amazed, and I kind of blamed myself because I brought it up. I thought he was going to get, it got a little dicey there in the middle.
Yes.
And he was right there, and I'm like,
uh-oh.
Sorry, Randy, I brought up that you're always clean in the middle, no problems with us. And he literally, car goes, and I went, okay, yeah, you made it, we're good. So, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Everybody says we're good.
Yeah, we're good. I don't know what's going on. Keep us posted. I don't want any technical difficulties tonight.
You're all worried about it.
Barley has been
consistent.
The definition of consistent in this division this year. He's got 2 wins. He's finishing well every single week. He's staying out of trouble. That's what you have to do to win championships. He's a former track champion. He knows how to do it. Got a lot of racing experience underneath him. He's a force this year. That 13B is definitely a force. Elkins was your winner in the feature. And Jody Tanner was second. The 36 car, the old guy.
Jody's got a good-looking car out there.
That is a great-looking race car. It is fast, and I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on with Jody this year, but again, here's a guy that has ramped up his game. He is attacking the racetrack. He is driving faster now than I have ever seen him in all the years I've watched him.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Almost reminds you of the Russell deal. The older Russ got, the faster he went. Remember this?
Right.
Got smoother, got better. I mean, it amazes me what these guys do as they age as drivers. It's putting all that knowledge together in the seat and the pedals and working that wheel and putting all that stuff in your brain. These guys are, Bruce Hipple is 75 years old, wheeling a late model at Willamette Speedway.
I was going to say, he was out there when I used to go there when I was a kid.
I cannot remember a year. In fact, I'll tell you, I talked with Bruce. The first year he started racing was the year before I was born. He's got 45 years experience at Willamette. Jody, he's got a few decades. He's got a few decades behind the wheel. quality racer. Third place, Randy Barley.